So another common question I get asked in the comments after I did the Apex sort of rear add-on for the wheel stand review is, Carl, what would you buy the Apex as a full cockpit versus the Art as a full cockpit? Now the Apex doesn't actually sell as a full cockpit, so to speak. You have to buy the wheel stand and then you have to buy the back end, whereas the Art obviously has been, a staple cockpit from GT Omega for years. So, but they're both similarly priced when you look at buying them, this together and then this on its own. So it's a good question. What's better and why? And what would I recommend and why? It's a good point because I haven't really thought about this much. So we're going to actually look at it now as I speak to you and just sort of break down the differences and see whether we can see, an obvious winner, or whether perhaps it comes down to personal preference. So first of all, they've both got the same RS6 seat on them, so that's going to make no difference. You can buy whatever seat you want. There's an RS9 there, and they do an XL as well, so you can buy whatever seat you want. As far as the construction of both of them goes, they're both made of the same box section steel, so there's no difference there. The seat on the Art can be raised up and down, whereas on the Apex, it looks like it can't. No, it can't. So you've got height adjustment on the seat for the Art, which you don't have on the Apex. They both obviously slide backwards and forwards on runners. My Art is on casters, so don't compare the height sort of from your point of view, because unless you opt for the casters, that would actually be a little lower, which would put we'll put the Art just a fraction lower on the ground, actually, because this has got kind of, when you buy the rear attachment for this, it comes with some extra pieces that sort of attach to the front and raise it up a little bit. So this does sit a touch higher, but only maybe the thickness of the box section. So perhaps an inch or inch and a bit, whatever that might be. But yes, we've got height adjustment on the seat. We've got, this has two different shifter mount options, the Art. The one you see there to the left, and then one exactly the same as what's fitted to the Apex here. So you've got two different shifter options with this, only one with this one. If we look at the wheel deck, you can see the Apex just has this smaller piece here, which kind of is perched on the top, whereas the Art one goes full width. Now, they both support the same wheels, your Logitech, your Thrustmaster, your Fanatic. So that doesn't make too much of a difference, but what I will say is having one that's full width allows you to fit additional toys on a bit easier, maybe fans for wind simulation, maybe a digital dash you might want to. I clamped mine sort of to here and then had it on like a swan neck. Wouldn't be as easy to do on this one, although there is this, this solid piece here. I mean, as far as flex goes, this is reinforced. I'm going to say they're probably even as far as flex goes. I can't see any obvious, having used them both as well, can't see any obvious reason why one would be better than the other. But I like the idea of a full width wheel deck versus this smaller one here. Although in practice, it probably makes no difference. The other thing, looking at that wheel deck that you can see between the two quite obviously, is that this one comes up and then angles off, whereas this one just comes straight up. So what that means is when you raise the Art wheel deck up, you're also bringing it quite further forward, and in fact its starting position is already hanging over your lap, whereas this is that bit further away. So you're going to be able to get your wheel deck nearer to you, I would say, with this one than perhaps you would on that. They both obviously slide in and out in the same fashion. Then if we look at the pedal deck, well, actually, before we get to the pedal deck, this can have a monitor stand that slots in here, whereas this one cannot. So if your monitor stand's important to you, then obviously this is going to be the one you go for, because there's somewhere to slot it in. These upright sections also add to rigidity. Now, whilst this doesn't have those upright sections, it does have these pieces here, which would do a similar job. So I would say they're both as sturdy as one another from a wobble and flex point of view. Again, having used them both and having had a little play. The pedal deck on the Art definitely flexes less than what the Apex does. Again, this is because this is designed to be folded away as a wheel stand primarily. The way they've implemented this, the pedal tray is quite big. So that's the other thing. This pedal tray is a lot larger. So you've actually got a lot more forwards and backwards adjustment should you need it. But the sort of drawback to that is this definitely has more flex than what that one does. That's got, it's a smaller overall length tray, which means less flex to start with. And where the beams run across, they're much closer together. Whereas this just has, yeah, it's got like a frame, but there's nothing running across the middle. So you've got that flex there. And also these pieces here that allow for the, oh, it's done up tight, that allow you to adjust the angle there, they can flex here as well. So pedal tray is definitely more solid on the art. I ran my Fanatic V3s on there for the last couple of years, and it didn't flex enough for me to notice or worry about. So pedal deck, definitely more rigid on the art. This one has more adjustment. I would say it also has more adjustment as far as the angle goes as well. I can see at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 different increments of angle adjustment. The art only has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you can really angle that up if you wanted to. So again, there's pros and cons to both here. Both cockpits at the midpoint can be slid in and out, or in actual fact, out and in, as my hands were demonstrating. So you've both got adjustment there. The art from memory comes with 2 different length sort of joining bars, a shorter length and a longer length. So depending on your leg length, you can really get it tailored to where you want. Whereas this just has a fixed amount of adjustment, sort of on the bottom here, where the rear add-on attaches. You've probably got maybe 6 or 7 inches of adjustment forwards and backwards, I would say, on there. Obviously, when you attach the rear section and turn this into a full cockpit, you can no longer fold it away as a wheel stand. I mean, that's kind of a given at this point. But I think that's probably the only real differences. So let's just have a little recap. On the art, the seat can be raised up and down. We have more of an overhang for the full width wheel deck. There are 2 shifter mount options. There's a monitor stand option. The pedal tray is more rigid. And I think that's probably the only advantages. The advantages on here are the pedal tray is bigger, but at the cost of flex. And it can be inclined further, again, at the cost of flex. And there's less adjustment full lengthways. I think, to be honest, the art is actually a clear winner here, because not many of us will need to angle the pedal tray more than what you can on the art. And not any of us would need to have a pedal deck that length on a full static cockpit, because there'd just be no need. If you needed to move your pedals further away or closer to you, you would either adjust the whole frame in and out a little bit or just move your seat. So yeah, the drawbacks on this that give it those slight advantages as far as adjustment goes are not adjustments that I think we would need in real life. So I think more solid pedal tray, more adjustment on the overall length. I prefer this overhang scenario, more easy to get in and out of with your legs, height adjustable seat, 2 different shifter options, and the monitor stand option as well. So yeah, I think for me, and I mean, unless any of you guys can think of a reason why this would be better, put it in the comments. But I think for me, and going through it logically, step by step, the art is the clear winner when it comes to what should you buy. If you don't have anything, what should you buy as your first static cockpit? I would choose the art. If you've got an Apex wheel stand already, then yes, adding the arse end is a cheaper, quicker and easier upgrade, because you're already used to the front end assembly. You've got it exactly where you want it. You've got all your stuff bolted to it. If you can't be bothered to whip that all off and transfer it to this and then get this just where you want it, that's fair enough. Like I said in my review of this arse end, it's a perfectly good upgrade from the wheel stand to add the back half and turn it into a full cockpit. It's quick, it's easy, it's convenient. You've already got everything at the front anyway. But if you're starting afresh and you don't have that, I would say buy the art, because they're similarly priced and this has those clear advantages that we've discovered here today. So I hope that's been helpful. As always, thank you very much for watching, and take it easy.